Hey, those of you who are unhappy with what's happening, let's break the issues down into four different parts. In the
Hmm.
world, there is a set of ethics for doctors. So, since we are often talking about business people and marketing people, we should have a set of ethics for business people and for marketing people. And
Right,
mainly, the idea is do not harm others. Have the basic nature to be in marketing, and which is to like people. If
right.
they don't like people, don't go into marketing.
Hmm.
Would- In my lectures to India, when I would be in India in Bombay or Calcutta or something, I would always say, "Wake up! You're a
Hmm.
tiger that's sleeping. Wake up!"
Right,
And when I saw Modi and what he was doing, he helped wake up the country.
exactly.
Now, three countries that are hurting other people.
Right.
And you start with diplomacy. When it stops working, you
Hmm.
have to use protest methods and try to isolate them. I
Hmm.
mean, if North Korea, for example, is hurting and starting wars, if they were to do that, or if Iran is starting wars, uh, trying to destroy another group,
Yeah,
there you are. Hello.
you are looking phenomenal as always.
Well, thank you. You too.
So Kotler sir, without wasting a single second, actually, I am very pumped up to host you again. So let's begin the podcast.
Please,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
So hello viewers. Right now, I am again in conversation with an exceptional person, the father of marketing is the father of modern marketing is one and only Mr. Philip Kotler. You might have seen him on our earlier podcast, which is part one with him, through which he has inspired thousands of our audience, right? So today, why he is with us? Because he has already done part one with us. Because the kind of segments which was untouched on that podcast, we are going to touch those segments too. So first of all, Kotler sir, thank you so much for being so timely on the time. So I'm very much grateful to you. And on a personal note, you are looking very handsome today. So first
Thank
of
you.
all,
Thank you.
let me ask you that what is the secret behind this bright face, Zanter?
Well, I guess I'm always enthusiastic about life and learning new things and meeting new people like you and others. So I guess if you're an optimist, if you are a learner, then life is good.
Exactly, sir. And sir, once I was reading your book, Marketing Management by Philip Kotler, I was, I noticed very tiny thing, which was your wife. You gave credits to your wife also. So one basic, thing which lot of, students mind, lot of corporate professionals mind, one thing always tends to come up all the time, which is how do you manage relationship? I mean, what are your suggestion ki how to manage conflicts with your
Yeah.
wife,
Well,
even
conflict
personally?
will occur between you and any other
Any
person,
other
wife
person?
or even friends have conflict. In the case of my wife, we supplement each other very well.
Hmm.
She is much more fact oriented. She's a lawyer, and I'm more of a marketer. So
Right.
she will remind me of times that there are legal issues that I don't even
Hmm.
see, and she makes me more cautious in my behavior. She probably wants to be sure that I don't say anything controversial to you, but I don't stick to her rule that much. But we get it. She's a wonderful woman, and I love her dearly.
Very, incredible stuff you have mentioned about managing conflicts and sticking on, So, Kotler, sir, you have sent me, prior to the podcast, some articles on Medium which you have said, just previous a few backs ago. I was about to ask you, Philip Kotler, sir, that in today's age of instant communication, sir, how can youth leverage, their social media to create real global pressure against injustice, right? Not just awareness. So I mean, what are your insights on this, right?
Yes. I remember the students getting together in the 1960s in the United States and in Europe before there was anything like social media.
Mm,
So what happened is that at certain campuses, there would be an outstanding leader who would be expressing in the best way possible
mm,
what the other students couldn't say. And then from campus to campus, new leaders arose and managed a protest movement, a nationwide protest movement.
mm,
Now, the fact is, social media today should make it easier rather than harder because now you can, as a young person in a certain university who
mm,
feels there's a lot of injustice, they can start sending out messages and organizing protest movements that can, where they might even say, those of you who are unhappy with what's happening, let's break the issues down into four different parts. And I want several people to sign up to work for becoming very informed on what's happening to healthcare, because we have a big problem with healthcare. I want another group to look at jobs.
mm,
We have a big problem with jobs. And this way you can organize groups around the world of
mm.
young people to protest.
Exactly. Very practical thing you have mentioned to organize a group, right? So, sir, I just
Yeah.
wanted to ask you that what are the most telling early signs that a nation or or an organization is drifting forward to operational or harmful behavior, and how can leaders respond this, right?
Well, what happens is in some nations, a person in power who
Mm,
already is a rich person may want more power and
right.
feeling that they are very special.
Mm,
And you can begin to detect the problem when
mm,
the following things start happening. First of all, there are moves made by that person that are against the written law. So crossing the law is the first sign of a problem. And trying to harass
right.
a minority group or hurt their image is
Mm,
another technique of the power hunger person. And
mm,
then we notice that that person expands propaganda, and they start vilifying the press, the free
mm,
press, saying, "Oh, that is a biased press." And
bias.
we know that they also dehumanize certain people who are the heroes that we normally have for better times and the common good, but they are
Mm,
dehumanized. And so we see that there's a personality cult developing
mm,
around that person, and he has polarized the whole country between us and them, us and
exactly.
them. And so we are having those signs in the United States now. Just the
Mm,
movement to Washington, D.C. Of troops on
mm,
the grounds that the troops will keep the social order is fake because the crime rate has been going down, not up.
right. Exactly. Very practical stuff you have mentioned, sir. And sir, I just wanted to ask
So
you
it's very creepy.
that.
Yeah,
You know, it is
yeah.
it is actually 15th August, today, which is Independence Day in India. That is the day where, when we got freedoms hunted, if you're aware of this, right?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. So, sir, very beautifully you have crafted your perspective. And, sir, which timeless and ethical principle, Kotler, sir, must future leader should hold firmly to prevent, history's political and moral mistakes from repeating it. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on from repeating of how they can stop themselves?
Well, some of us start with the Ten Commandments as a set
Mm,
of ethics. Do not commit murder. Do not lie about your family, about your enemies. I would say that we need a set of business commandments or marketing commandments too. For example, in the
mm,
world, there is a set of ethics for doctors. So since we are often talking about business people and marketing people, we should have a set of ethics for business people and for marketing people. And
right.
mainly the idea is do not harm others.
Mm,
Um, and not only the negative steps, I mean, do not do this, do not that. That's the no side, but there would be a yes side.
Mm,
Try to understand your
mm,
neighbors.
right,
Try to make their lives better.
right,
So one ought to form ethical codes for different professions.
right. Exactly, very practical thing you have mentioned that don't do this, don't harm others, don't harass others, don't stop somebody from any kind of specific action or something. Very practical thing you have mentioned, sir. Uh, when I posted a story on Instagram, then I think around 50 to 30 people would have wanted to just ask you out of curiosity, what is the daily routine of father of marketing? So what will be your answer to your those fellows who wants to know your routine, right?
Uh, you're asking how to become a successful person in the field of marketing? Is
Right,
that
right,
the
exactly.
question?
Yeah. And what routine you follow in your everyday life?
Okay. First, I'll tell you what I think such a young person might do who is starting marketing.
Mm,
I want to be sure that they have the basic nature to be in marketing, and which is to like people. If
right.
they don't like people, don't go into marketing.
Mm,
If you only like numbers, go into finance. But if you like people, then you have to find out how they behave and how to
connect.
work and what their needs are. You have
Right.
to be have empathy because a lot of needs are not expressed by people because they may feel they're foolish needs or unsatisfiable needs.
Mm,
So you have to have the skills of drawing out people's real feelings. And that's very different than using the chat GPT or a whole bunch of other techniques and so on. I always worry that as we get more technical, we're going to assume all people are alike and you can find out about them by putting a question to chat GPT. But
mm.
that's so wrong because each person is quite a different person.
Exactly, sir. Sir, when I asked you on our previous podcast that what should be the purpose, then you said serve the nation. So basically, the one who should choose marketing as a career, if you don't love connecting with people, if you don't love resonating with people, then marketing is not built for you. So you have mentioned it very beautifully that it should be empathetic. You should connect with empathy, emotions. Very practical thing.
Well, let me express it this way.
Mm,
It has to do with the purpose of a company or
mm,
another person, and the purpose must be to make life better, not only for
mm,
yourself. If you only are doing it for yourself, you're
right.
into money, period. You're just
Mm,
into getting more money. If your life is about making lives better besides other people, then you're talking about two things. By better, you mean that they have more well-being.
mm,
In other words, they're healthier, they exercise more, they eat well, and so on. And secondly, that if they have those well-being traits, they will also be happier. So
right.
the two things you want to lift is the happiness of people and the well-being of people.
Right. Well-being.
Yeah.
And sir, there is also one saying that if anybody wants to become successful in their life, there are three things: health, wealth, and happiness. You have also
Yeah.
mentioned this very very beautiful thing. And sir, I think you have met somewhere Marshall Goldsmith, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yes, I know Marshall very well, and I think highly of him.
Yeah. And so because when I hosted him, he also mentioned that if somebody wants to learn marketing, then there is no other, speaker, guest other than, Philip Kotler. So you must read his books because he is the only legendary person I have ever seen in my life in the realm of marketing and all, sales and all. So he also speak highly of you, and you also speak highly of him. And I have seen your quote on his book, Triggers. That's how I started knowing you and getting connected with you. So Kotler sir, the another question which is just coming up in my mind that how can emerging leaders find the right balance between demonstrating strength and practicing diplomacy in moments of global crisis? What do you feel?
I would always say this when there's a friction
Mm,
with another group, please use diplomacy first. do
exactly.
everything you can to arrange a meeting, a good meeting with the other side, and see what you can, how far you can go to understand and agree on some
Mm,
things. Maybe in my case, I might say, would you agree to the following? Because I feel strongly about it. And they may say no or yes, but
mm,
but don't go to protest until you are dealing with someone which who won't stop hurting other people. And I've had this piece that I published about three countries that are hurting other people.
right.
And you start with diplomacy. When it stops working, you
Mm,
have to use protest methods and try to isolate them. I
mm,
mean, if North Korea, for example, is hurting and starting wars, if they were to do that, or if Iran is starting wars, uh, trying to destroy another group, I would say
mm,
that we have to organize against them
right.
because we may have tried protest. It's not
Mm,
enough.
exactly. Very practical thing you have mentioned, sir. And sir, you mentioned that diplomacy at first. So when Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India, when he get awarded
Yeah.
by by Philip Kotler Presidential Award, and he also got this award for the leadership for the diplomacy style. So what do you personally feel about him? Considering his today's success, right?
Well, I felt that India is going to be one of the most amazing countries in the world, but it was asleep. Before
Mm,
Modi, it was asleep. And in my lectures to India, when I would be in India in Bombay or Calcutta or something, I would always say, wake up. You're a
mm,
tiger that's sleeping. Wake
right.
up. And when I saw Modi and what he was doing, he helped wake up the country.
Exactly.
Now, subsequently, he has had a lot of power,
Mm,
and he decided to make this all about India, Hinduism.
yes.
And there's always the problem with Muslim and Hindu relations. And there's some criticism of Modi, but I
Mm,
think his basic nature and wish is to do goodness for at least the Hindu population of
exactly.
India.
Mm, I see. You have learned him so well that even you can explain about Modi matter better than any Indian guy. I felt this. Right. So Kotler sir, moving towards the another segment, which is when using trade sanctions to influence malevolent countries or nations, how should leader weigh the political goal against the suffering of ordinary citizens, right? What do you feel?
When a leader is hurting other countries, or is
Yeah,
that the question?
malevolent nations, right? Exactly. Sanctions to influence, yeah, trade sanctions. When they trade sanctions to influence malevolent nations, then how should leader weigh the political goal?
Yeah, yeah. We're having that problem as the United States when it is dealing with Russia and Russia's war against the Ukraine. And the best thing we could do is two things. One, help Ukraine by giving them some armaments to
Mm,
defend themselves. And the second is to put pressure on Russia by making their income go down by sanctions, where they no one wants to supply them with some of the things they need.
exactly.
So you hurt them in two ways,
Mm,
and you hope that they realize that they are going to lose if they could
mm,
persist. Yeah.
that's right. Very practical thing you have mentioned. And Kotler sir, if a young person, if a aspiring leader is watching the podcast, and he wants to become billionaire in his life by creating a venture or entrepreneurship by watching your books, your videos, your seminar, the way you speak. I mean, I know it might be a quirky question, but if somebody wants to become, a multi-billionaire, and he will be asking to you, then what will be your, response to a 15-year-old guy that this is the blueprint, or these are some kind of traits, or some kind of habits which, if you will incorporate, then you might be the
Yeah.
one you are trying to be.
Um, You know, it's a wrong thing to
Mm,
frame your
push.
purpose to be a multi-billionaire. There's only going to be a few of those people, and they're not very happy. And they actually find out that life is very difficult
Mm,
just to protect your assets against more taxes and people who might hurt your children because you're rich. They could kidnap your children. The life of a multi-billionaire is not an easy life. It's not a sound thing.
mm,
And it's much better to be a person who wants to have good income. And by the way, the billionaires are few because most of that success is the result of a brand new discovery or monopoly. And most people, hopefully, they would might maybe like to run a company or start a company and make a lot of money, and that's fine. There's no that helps economic growth.
mm,
But I would I would say that such a young person should really frame his or her interest in what could they be good at in a way that it's missing from most people. And what could they invent as a
mm.
new product or service or lifestyle
Right.
that could be a gift to the world, really? Now, there's one woman who has done, she hasn't done that, but it shows that sometimes a young person can get a lot of attention. And you know, the woman called Greta Thunberg
Mm.
from Norway.
Norway.
Greta,
Mm.
she couldn't understand why we don't have peace in the world.
Right.
Everyone should want peace because peace makes it possible to get economic growth.
Economic.
And
Exactly.
she, and for 5 years, she's been busy organizing young people, asking
Mm.
them to talk to their parents. See, the young people have a lot of power. Some of them no longer talk to their parents. They're
Right.
angry with their parents, which makes things worse.
Right.
But if they were very often when in the United States some issue came up and the parents were not interested, it was
Mm.
the young students who said, "We study this problem, dad or mother, and we really are trying to change your mind too." In other words, the students become the recruiters of more people who are adults to
Right.
join them.
Exactly.
But so don't separate yourself from the parents. Use them to
Right.
add to the power.
Mm. Very practical thing you have mentioned, sir, about the mindset of billionaire that everything comes at a cost. It
Yeah,
does not mean that you are trying to create a imaginary situation that if I will be the guy, then I can rule the world. The world will rule on you. So that is the harsh truth. And sir, you have also mentioned about the practicality of life, in terms of be good at one thing, and try to help others because your only motto is to serve the nation in anyhow. Then that is the only way to be the cause of your success and the betterment of society also.
yeah.
Kotler sir beautifully answered this. So if you could assign one bold and actionable mission to the youth of the world to secure lasting peace, you have also mentioned about peace, so what would it be and why? Right.
Yes. I had an experience
Mm,
when I met someone in India whose parents had the biggest steel factory, and the student said to me, he was a student of the family of a very wealthy family. He says, "Dr. Kotler, you have helped market a lot of products and services. How come you don't market peace?" And I said, I never thought that it has to be marketed. I thought people want it. But
right.
you're right. You're
Mm,
right. There could be possibly a campaign to get more people to put down and avoid bad people who are trying to create problems in the world. And yet I have not found yet a marketing solution or campaign that can be convincing. I mean, how do we tell Russia that peace would be better for the Russians
right.
when in fact Russia is not run by the Russians? It's run
Mm,
by one man.
exactly. Mhm.
Yeah. The best thing we can do is show that his behavior is shameful it's he will go down in history as someone who says he was the killer of so many people that he should, in the old religions, they
Mm,
often would say that you go to hell. And
right.
if he
Okay.
believed in hell, he would stop doing that.
Exactly. True. So, my very practical, mission you have given that peace matters and about Russia too. So Kotler sir, what are your views on leadership, that a marketer should be a leader, or all he has to do is to make connection with others? And what about leadership, that how do you feel a leader should be? Because everyone has their own definition of leadership. Marshall sir has his own own way, own approaches, own techniques. How do you look at leaders, that's how it should be?
Yeah, it's a very good question because
Mm,
we do believe that good leaders are needed in the world,
right.
and many people pose as leaders, many of which are not really
Right.
good. In fact, the thing to avoid is what we call misleadership, misleaders. And the worst thing is when a misleader has a following, has a cult built around
Mm,
him, but what is the right kind of leadership? Marshall Goldsmith has once shown maybe five or six types of leaders, and they were all interesting possibilities.
right.
But I think the leader, we have a person at Northwestern University who
Mm,
teaches leadership, but he was the one who was the president of the Baxter Company for many, many years. And after he quit being the CEO, he decided to go and teach leadership. And he has a very big following.
mm,
Let me just mention this
right.
that he wrote two books. One is called Your Values Based Leadership,
Legacy. Right.
and the other is Your 168. But you have to
160.
understand 168 is how much time you have in life. And
Oh,
his name is Harry Kramer,
yeah, right, right. Harry Kramer.
and he's well known around the world. Maybe you'll interview him sometime.
Yeah, I will.
And then he could be the best person. He teaches leadership, and he would be
Mm.
a good one to talk to.
So surely you invite him on the podcast. So, sir, you think that a leader should not have, they sometimes mislead. They have cult. So, what are your insights on Osho? You might be knowing Osho, isn't it? Rajneesh Osho.
Osho is the name of a person. I didn't
Osho
hear.
is a name of a person, but this name is given by his peoples. His name is Rajneesh Osho, very big, spiritual leader, a philosopher in our old times, right?
Well, I missed. I would like to get the name spelled and look it up, but I have no knowledge at this time about him.
Yeah,
We should always show who we regard as spiritual or successful, honest, authentic leaders,
exactly,
and follow their wisdom.
exactly.
We want a leader to have wisdom, but
Mm,
it's very hard to define wisdom. So many may claim it, but maybe they don't have it.
exactly. And sir, there is also a saying that you can become knowledgeable from from others' knowledge, but you cannot become wise from others' wisdom, right?
Yeah. You got to know yourself first
Exactly.
before you can be helpful to other people.
And there is also a slok in Bhagavad Gita also, like karmanyevadhikaraste ma phalesu
Karma,
kadachan. Yeah,
yeah,
karmanyevadhikaraste ma phalesu kadachan matra karma phal heturv mate sangvastu karmani, that we must focus on our own karmas, like our own doings, rather than focusing on the outcomes and other people's judgment, that what if I will do this, then what is going to be his judgment. So we better focus on ourselves, cast in ourselves. You have also mentioned that we better understand ourselves, our own expertise, what we should do, what we should not do, what we should avoid, who should we follow, like leaders like yourself. So very beautifully you have crafted the
yeah.
answer. So again, Kotler sir,
By the way, I would advise young people who are moving into business
uh,
to read as much as they can of the work of Peter Drucker.
Peter Drucker,
who,
right? Yeah.
because so many of his idea, he was a very wise man,
Very, very,
and
very
he
wise.
and then they'll learn some good principles of how of working with other people. And as a matter of fact, a new movement is taking place where we
Mm,
say we want to understand that business is about people dealing with people, not
mm,
people dealing with just machines, people working with other people.
mm.
And the book we wrote was called H2H Marketing, Human to Human Marketing.
Marketing.
And someone else recently wrote a book on marketing
Mm,
asking for P2P marketing. So I said, what do you mean by P2P? He says, person to person marketing.
right.
So it's the same thing, but there's another way to put it. We have to
Exactly.
move from high tech to high
Mm,
touch. If you're only high tech,
mm,
then people may not care to buy what you have. But if you have high touch, they
right.
feel emotional. Yeah.
Most very practical thing you have mentioned, that P2P and H2H. How come he can copy anyways, sir? And
Yes.
Kotler sir, again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for again joining us and
Well, thank you.
enlightening many minds. So, Kotler sir, the kind of answers you have given of the questions I have asked you is really very practical, not mentioned, not written, not taught anywhere. So thank you so much, Kotler sir. Keep shining, keep educating. And sir, when are you coming to India, by the way, for summit?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to think hard about that. I love going to India, but there's so many travel's becoming
Mm,
harder and harder for a lot of people. You know,
ex-
planes don't show up on time. They're very crowded. So I can't. That's why I'm in love with the fact we could Zoom.
mm,
It's not the
I
same,
also love the
but it's
fact.
very,
Yeah,
yeah. Well,
without
thank you
even
for
thinking.
the interview, and I appreciate your questions. And good luck to you.
Thanks, sir.
All
So
right.
thank you so much, sir. Take care and love you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Sure.
Thanks, sir. Take
Bye.
care.
This is more than a brand. This is a movement led by Raunak Rangwal.